If you're tired of not making progress and you're ready to be the artist you know you're meant to be, you're in the right place. You're listening to the Singer's Path podcast. The Path, or Performing Artists Training Hub, will cover everything, including singing tips that actually work, advice from top industry professionals, and life-changing mindset shifts. Out with the starving artist and in with the thriving artist. I'm your host, Sarah Bishop, professional singer, actor, educator, and entrepreneur. I'm not afraid to speak the truth and stop the gatekeeping of quality information so you can actually become the artist you dream of being. So let's get on the path, shall we? Even though we're all on our own journeys, it always helps to have a guide. Hey, it's your host, Sarah. I'm thrilled to be talking with you guys again. Today's episode is gonna really, I'm kind of doing this impromptu because it's coming off of a conversation that I had with a student recently about what to do when you get sick on a job, because it's inevitable. Okay, like you're gonna get sick on a job. Yeah, hey, even if you're teching a show and you're about to open, like more often than not, it's kind of a trend. Like there's going to be some people in the cast that get worn down, and then, you know, people's immune systems start to drop because they've been working a lot and they're run down, and then they get sick and they start to get sick. And so sometimes, hopefully, you have a cast set in place and a system set in place where you can call out, where, you know, you have an understudy or a swing or something, because especially post-COVID, we're not really trying to condone going to work sick. So that's not really what this is about, right? This isn't a situation if you have to kind of push through something anyway. Maybe you're not even contagious anymore, but like you have to like show up and sing and do a gig. Like maybe you're paid to do this and it's a contract that you can't get out of, right? So just so you know, this episode is not going to say like, oh, don't stay home if you're sick, or don't wear a mask or something like that. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is, how do we basically, you know, work in a time where our instrument isn't operating as functionally as we needed to, or how we've depended on it before, okay? This is also just to remind you that group classes are now available for registration. They opened up August 1st for the fall trimester, I guess, the fall time of the year. It starts, I believe, mid-September. You can check the link in the bio to double check that. And just know, if you've never signed up for group classes before, there is a prerequisite. You must have Pillars as well, the Pillars series. And this isn't to, you know, make you buy extra stuff. It's really to make sure that you have the technical element in place so that you can go away, practice everything you need to practice, do the drills to actually functionally train in balance, which is ultimately, we're going to talk about that a little bit, and you know how it's important to put that repetition in. But you can go away and you can use the program to pick exercises and lessons that are custom designed around the most common vocal habits that exist. And Pillars also teaches you how to hear and assess yourself like a voice teacher with Discover. And then it provides the lesson plans and the lessons that are created for you based off of what those habits are. There are even like cheat sheets in there. So say you're like, okay, I'm going through a lesson that I know I need that is for my voice today, and I've learned to pick what lesson is for me based off of learning what I listen for and what I need to address in my voice. So I pick the right lesson, but sometimes, like, as you're using it over and over again, your voice will develop and change and grow, and then all of a sudden some exercises won't work so well anymore. And this is a big reason why I don't like blanket terms or blanket tricks, blanket things, because it's not ethical. It's not the reality of studying voice. The reality of studying voice is that your voice is going to shift and change, especially as it's growing and you're conditioning it. So Pillars is really there to catch you and help you move between different tendencies and habits you'll develop as you're strengthening your voice and as you're continuing to work on your voice. So if you have Pillars already, you're more than welcome to register for group classes right away. But I do check, like, you must have it first. And that's also so that you can get the most out of group classes, guys. So it's not just so that you're at home drilling your technique and I know ethically that you have what you need to do that, and then you can come to group. It's also so that in group, we focus more on direct coaching with song work in particular, and also with customizations. We need to have the same language and understand what's going on before we can work together and actually see results in this container, right? I'm all about making sure that people are benefiting and getting results. And I'm not about to like just have people like half-assed showing up to class without the foundation of the language and the way that I'm going to be teaching you and the tools that you need to drill stuff. Okay. So all that to say, if you want a way to work with me, this is the best and most accessible and actually the cheapest way to work with me as well. Is to get Pillars, which you'll own forever once you have it, and then group classes. Now, guys, this sold out last time, and I have a feeling a lot of the same people from last trimester are going to come back. And I capped this group at 10 people for each of the classes. There's an afternoon class and an evening class, so there's 20 people total. But I only work with 10 people, and it's a 2-hour window, right? And that is to ensure that everybody is getting time and everybody's getting customizations. Everybody can then ask questions based on the homework that they're doing and the exercises that they're doing outside of class with Pillars. They can come in, and I'm basically giving like semi-private lessons in here, right? Because I'm listening to them. We're customizing exercises. We're checking them. We're making sure they're balanced, and we're drilling song work. And it doesn't matter if you're an intermediate singer or you're an advanced singer. Again, there's 2 levels, so pick the level that is the most appropriate for you. And this will not only help you like get ready for the audition, practice in front of people, like get over nerves, get more confident, find community. Like there's so many benefits. But it'll also just get those repetitions in so that you know that you're doing that work for like a fraction of what it would be for private lessons. Okay. So just wanted to remind you of that. And we're going to loop around why that actually can come into play and answer some of the questions that I'm going to bring up today. Which is around conditioning the voice and being prepared to more or less kind of damage control if you get sick. So let's talk about this in a couple different ways. Again, when my student talked about it, they're not in a professional production necessarily, but they opened a show recently where they got sick during Tech Week and actually had to miss a couple days of Tech Week and then come back. And again, more often than not, this is going to be because people get run down. You're staying up really late, if you're doing community theater, like you have a day job, right? You're not getting as much sleep. You're not going to bed as early. If you're working professionally, especially during the tech window, they'll often have what's called previews. So you'll tech and sometimes I think I always say this wrong. I think it's 10 out of 12. And I could totally be misquoting this, but 10 hours of 12 you're working, and then you get like a 2-hour window in there of a break, but they're really, really, really long work days. So you'll have that leading up to previews. And when previews happen, you are rehearsing during the day and then previewing the show for an audience at night. So it's just like, it makes sense if people are getting worn down and then they start to get sick. But what happens? It's like, okay, worst case scenario, what happens if you're starting to feel it come on? You're starting to feel that wear down. Well, the first step is to kind of anticipate it first. We want proaction above all. So if you actually feel yourself getting sick, that is the biggest sign. Or even if you feel yourself, you're getting really tired, it's like, be as proactive with your health, with your water intake, with your sleep, with your vitamins, with how you're eating, with how you're taking care of your body. If you're exercising, like if you need a break, take the break, so that any way that you can help boost your immune system before the sickness kind of crashes in, the better, because then it's preventative, right? And if that means, if you're like, oh, I know this is going to get bad, like I know if I just take the day off here because I'm not feeling well and I could possibly recover, then do that. Like, it's better, actually, I think it's better to take a day off and stay home and recover before it gets full blown and you could potentially like beat it off, than to push it off. Then you're really fucking sick. And then you even taking one day off isn't really going to do anything because you're like sick as a dog and you just have to power through the rest of it. Okay. And this happens a lot to people. Like I was telling my student, like in a professional setting, say like you were feeling yourself getting sick. You're like, oh no, it's okay. You put it off. And again, I'm not a medical doctor. I just got to tell you this. This is just from experience. Okay. So just disclaimer here, but you're putting it off and you're like, oh, I'll push through. Like it'll go away, blah. And then it doesn't. And you wake up the next day sick as fuck. Right. And then you like think about it as like we got 8 show weeks as professionals. Okay. So, and the show schedules differ. Tuesday, sometimes there's 2 on Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, possibly 2 on Saturday. So Saturday, Sunday. Sometimes that changes if you're on tour. Sometimes it's just Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which is pretty rough. And just also know that when like missing a day of work is not, it actually just means missing a show. So say you got sick Friday and you had to call out Saturday and Sunday and you had 2 shows each of those days. That's actually 4 days you're calling out because it's 4 shows you're missing on 2 show days. Does that make sense? So if you were to call out even Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and your schedule was Friday, Saturday matinee, Saturday evening, Sunday matinee, Sunday evening, that means you missed 5 days. Okay? As far as like equity pays you. And that's 5 sick days, which I personally think is fucked up because, like, what the fuck? Like, I kind of get it in the terms of, like, payment for shows, but not for the sense of someone, like, actually resting and benefiting from a sick day. You know what I mean? I think that's actually, like, now that I'm thinking about it, that, like, actually pisses me off, like, so much because that's not right. Like, right? Like if someone's sick in the same day, like you're going to dock them 2 sick days just because the schedule says there's 2 shows. Like what, like they're supposed to like take 1 show off and that's supposed to magically make them feel better. Like what the fuck? Anyway, sorry. I just like there's so many reasons why this industry pisses me the fuck off. And that's one of them. But anyway, again, here's the thing. Singers get put, and just professional actors, they do kind of get put in a tight situation. And again, it's like we don't want to be encouraging people to come to work sick. But sometimes also like producers, people at the top, it's holiday season, it's Tony season, someone's nominated. There's pressure on a lot of these leads to make sure that they are showing up and they're pushing through. And so this is why I'm kind of talking about sickness as being like damage control, because more often than not, you're going to be, if you're in a really high position in the company, there's going to be expectations put on you. Now, of course, I'm always going to encourage you to say no, take care of yourself, do that first. But if you're feeling pressure and you're worried for your job or you're feeling whatever, like I don't want to invalidate that either because it's really hard as well on that end. So again, I would always encourage you just to take off. But if that's not possible, then the next resort is, okay, how, at this point, it just becomes how can we get through the show and how can we minimize swelling as much as possible? So when you lose your voice, what actually ends up happening is your vocal folds are swollen. Okay. That's why they aren't vibrating correctly. And that's why even people with vocal injuries, it sounds like that because the vocal folds either have nodules on them, which are like these growths that are rubbing together, or say you have, a bleed or a hemorrhage, or your vocal folds are literally just too inflamed to vibrate together properly. Okay. So that's why it sounds like that, because it's just not functioning correctly. So in that case, there's a couple things you can do. Okay. Obviously, again, not a medical doctor, but sleep and rest and all of that kind of stuff. Don't talk. Right? Rest your voice. This doesn't mean you have to be completely vocally silent. Well, if you do lose your voice, I would say go completely on vocal rest. But you can do like little stretches and little things to start to try to wake it up throughout the day. But for the most part, if you're starting to lose your voice and it's going to be gone, vocal rest is one of the best things you can do for yourself, as long as like actual rest, so you get better. The other thing people will do is possibly like lymphatic drainage can help with swelling in a natural way, because it'll basically, I mean, I could be misspeaking this, but it basically like rinses the lymphatic system through your body and through your heart, and instead of it kind of congregating on your vocal folds, right? Because when there's swelling, that means there's lymph in the area. And so by doing something like lymphatic drainage, it's going to kind of circulate the lymph in your body towards your heart. And then that's going to help bring the swelling down, because it's not like packed with lymph, if that makes sense. Again, I could be misspeaking on this. I'm not a specialist in that, but that's what I've heard people do. And one of kind of the final ditch efforts of trying to damage control is people will often get steroid shots. And again, steroid shots can help decrease inflammation. It's not going to like make you, well, it'll increase your immune capacity to get better, but it's not, again, not a medical doctor. But steroid shots are really, really popular with people that are like, I have to push through my show. Like, I'm going to get steroids. Like, okay. But here's the thing, guys. It's like we don't really like, again, it kind of goes back to like, if I had everything my way, I would advocate for the singer and just, treat them as a person and let them get better. Um, and sometimes when we push through push through illness, we can actually become injured. So even when we're using steroid shots, even if it's a last resort, we still have to be careful, like how we're using our instrument. And if we're kind of towing that line of losing our voice and we're really inflamed, we're more at risk for like a hemorrhage to happen. So that's why I'm saying like all of this is more damage control. Okay. One of the questions that my student texted me while they were in the situation, they actually did end up going to get a steroid shot to make it through the weekend because it was just like a 1 weekend show and no one was covering, and it was kind of a bad situation that puts the singer in like a bad position. But one of the things was, well, how do I get it to sound the way it did? And here's the last part of like damage control is like you kind of just have to surrender what your body is capable of doing that day. It's not going to sound the same way it's always sounded because you're sick. Don't expect yourself to be the perfect product that you were before because your body is compromised. Okay. So sometimes that means your chest voice is gone, right? And then, or your head voice is gone, or you can't mix and it's all swollen in the middle or something's going on. So sometimes you can work with the music director and help like maybe change keys, do different options. At this point, it's good to communicate with the sound engineer, ask them about your levels, tell them you're sick and that you're not going to be as loud, like let people know like, hey, I can't push, like I'll crack, or like it's going to hurt me, like I can't today. And lean on the team, right? Lean on people that can hopefully help you just get through the show. And the other thing I will say, and this is how this wraps up into group classes, is if you have been drilling and conditioning your voice to be as efficient as possible, it will tend to function. It'll be, you can rely on it more, right? Because if your vocal technique is in place, you understand vocal balance, more often than not, you're going to actually understand where your baseline is more, and you're going to understand what ingredients go into your sound more. So you're going to have more control over how to affect your own sound instead of just being at the mercy of like just winging it and trying it. It's like you're a little bit more of an expert of your own instrument, and you know what's at your capacity to be able to dial up or dial down to try to get the best sound possible with your compromised instrument, if that makes sense. So where group class comes into handy is if you have pillars, which is all about developing vocal balance and vocal technique, and you have group class and you've been putting in those repetitions and in that practice, and you have been conditioning yourself, and even if you're sick and you're compromised, you're doing the best that you can, at least you have conditioned your body to be in the best shape that it could have been. You know what I mean? Even if the instrument is compromised by illness, right? And there's going to be some wild card things that happen that you're just going to have to adjust, and it's not going to be exactly the same. At least you can lean on the consistency and the technique and the repetitions that you've put up so that the muscle memory, as much as it's able to function, is there, if that makes sense. So, I mean, as an actor, like I have group classes that I take with film acting and acting repetition, and I have practice groups that I meet with as a professional, and I'm constantly in like group singing classes and training for being a voice teacher, and I would literally sooner cut off my left arm than stop doing that continuous training, because it's the thing that holds you accountable, and it's the thing that keeps you in shape, and it's the thing that brings you community, and it's the thing that gets you to have confidence in yourself, and confidence that you can lean on something even when your instrument is compromised in a way that you're sick, if that makes sense. So those are my key tips, honestly. And I guess the last thing I'll say is just like try to have as much compassion with yourself as possible. And again, as a voice teacher, I would always recommend someone just vocal rest and tap out and fucking get better, but that's not always the case. Some things like exercises that you can do to try to encourage the vocal folds to gently come together even when they're inflamed. Straw work, straw work, straw work, straw work, straw work is so good. SOVTs are semi-occluded vocal tract exercises. That's singing into your fist, like lip trills, any of those things, gentle movement. Bigger straws are going to give you a larger diameter, especially if you put them in water. If you put the straw further in the water, you're going to feel more back pressure. But if you hum and blow bubbles, that can be really therapeutic. Voice teachers and the top vocal professionals all over the world are so about straw work, guys. It's like almost magical, and especially for rehabilitating voices, especially if they're inflamed and you're having a hard time, you have a compromised instrument. I've heard, okay, this is a side tangent. I'm just going to say this. I've heard a couple fucking teachers on socials be like, you think straw work is stupid? We don't do it over here. I'm sorry. Hold the fuck up. Are you serious? You're going to take something that is like deeply therapeutic and effective for singers and you're going to shit on it because you decided it's stupid? Like, that is like alarm bells going off. Major red flag as some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard from a voice teacher online. That pisses me off. I'm just a little pissy today. I'm sorry, guys. That's not my usual vibe. But like, are you serious? You're gonna shit on straw work, right? And I don't. Maybe you're a listener and you're like, I don't like straw work. Listen, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It works. It's amazing. It has single-handedly rehabilitated my voice. I've seen it work on fucking vocal injury. Like, they use that to rehabilitate you. They use it on all kinds of vocal stuff. Okay, so I don't want to hear that a voice teacher, a professional voice teacher, doesn't like it. I don't care if you don't like it. What do you not like about it? It's great. Anyway, okay, I'll shut up. That's not necessary to like bitch about this. But all this to say, these are the things at your disposal, right? I'm not gonna lie to you and say like tea and honey is gonna do anything. It might comfort your voice and like feel good, but like water doesn't actually touch your vocal folds, so that's not going to do anything. It might like warm up the area. We all know about steaming and nebulizing. Know that steaming is going to heat it up, right? So maybe something better for like a cool down moment. Maybe nebulizing like a cool mist with a saline before you sing, not like a hot thing that's going to like get you all loose before, you know, you're already inflamed. And it might even dry you out a little bit. Not that I'm shitting on steaming. Like, steaming's great too. And if you don't have a nebulizer, like, use your steamer. But I'm just saying I prefer nebulizing before singing, steaming after as kind of a cool down. Make sure that you're warming up slowly and in little bits throughout the day with that straw work that I was talking about. And even make sure that you're cooling down afterwards, gentle humming, vocal rest, going to sleep. Don't drink alcohol. Like, don't dry yourself out. Like, this is also kind of an old wives' tale. This more than the tea, but I look at anti-inflammatory foods because, again, the thing we're going after here is inflammation. The vocal folds are swollen. We need to decrease inflammation. So, like, pineapple is one that's recommended. However, it is quite acidic. So if you have like acid reflux, that's not going to be a good look. But looking at like anti-inflammatory foods, things like that is another way to go if you don't want to go full steroid route. Again, not a medical professional. These are all just hacks that I've learned as a vocal professional. Sorry, not a medical professional, but as a voice teacher, I've worked with some people at, working on my own vocal health and my own vocal rehabilitation, from people at Columbia, really, really top end people. And these are all the things that they have shared with me. When you're vocally fatigued or you're sick. And guys, finally, don't beat yourself up. Getting sick happens to everyone. It's not your fault, right? These are rigorous schedules. Don't let anyone make you feel like you're a less than performer or you're bad somehow because you got sick. You're a human being, especially professionally. They like to forget that and treat you like a machine. So just a reminder, take care of yourself. If this is happening to you, please don't stress. Please send this to a singer that gets anxious. Just because you're sick, it's a good thing to be cautious because we are at risk for injury when we're inflamed. However, you don't have to be all anxious about it. You got to just do what's at stake and try to recover the best you can. And if you also, I'll say this one more thing, if you also have been injured because you sang on top of sickness and you pushed too hard or all of that, just know it's not your career isn't over. You can be rehabilitated, right? You can have fatigue and be rehabilitated. It's not like the days of Julie Andrews where you're going to get surgery and it's going to be ruined forever. Like actually pretty much I've never known a singer actually who works professionally that's never had some kind of vocal injury or vocal exhaustion or something that's happened, because guess what? You're a vocal athlete, right? And we don't get mad at the football players when they tear their Achilles because they're doing something very athletic, right? Or they pull a hamstring. We're not going to be like, this person is a piece of shit. Pat Mahomes is like a shit player. It's like, what the fuck? No, just get the care you need. Take care of yourself as best as possible. And especially my Broadway singers out there, you literally are the NFL of singers, right? So injuries are going to happen. Fatigue is going to happen. And you're just going to have to damage control and love yourself and rest yourself through it as much as they will allow you to. Always put yourself first, drink your water, get some sleep. Again, not medical advice, but I really hope this is helpful and hopefully eases some anxiety, that there are some things you can do, but ultimately it is going to come down to rest and just doing the best that you can with a compromised instrument. With all that, I love to kind of drop all that information on you. Please save this and send it to a friend that might need it in the future. If you need it in the future, again, it's not flu and sick season. It's fucking July. So at some point, you'll probably need to pull this out. So just remember all of these hacks and these tips that I gave you. And then finally, remember that group class registration for fall 2025 is currently happening. It is open. I can't guarantee that there are any spots left by the time this is released or that you look at it. If there are, they will be noted. If there aren't, it will also let you know and it'll drive you to a wait list. And finally, last thing I'm going to say, if you do love this podcast and you find it very helpful and you find it valuable and you relate to the stories that I tell and the things I talk about, please don't hesitate to leave us a 5-star written review specifically. This really helps us get this out to other people, and it's valuable information. I don't think it should be gatekept. I think every singer should know this. And if you do that, please also take the second step. Guys, y'all are so generous with reviews, and not a single person has sent me an email with the reviews by the time that I'm recording this. But if you send me an email at singerspath@gmail.com and you screenshot your review that you left, so I know it's you with your email, I'll enter you to win a free half-hour lesson with me, which is worth a lot of money, and I don't open to the public. So pretty rare little golden nugget. I hope to draw that, after I get some submissions, even though you guys left reviews. So I hope to do that and be able to connect with you as a thank you for, helping me get this message out to other people and sharing your appreciation. I really, really appreciate it. Obviously, if you want to leave a shitty review, you're not going to be, please don't. You're also not going to be counted. So 5-star written review only if you like it, okay? And if you don't like it, my name's Bethany and I'm from Madagascar. Okay, anyway, no. I just pulled that that country out of my ass because I have like I like to move it. You like to move. Isn't that from Madagascar? I'm talking to myself. Anyway, what a whirlwind of emotions. I'm a little jaded today, so sorry about it. But here's some truth. I hope it helps some of you. And with all of that, I will see you next time. Bye. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts. This helps me get this information out to more artists all over the world. Let's work together to spread the joys of music. Until next time, I'm your host, Sarah Bishop, signing off from the Singer's Path podcast. Thanks for listening.